that they helped implement peace agreements.
Thank you, Ross. You will stay with us as we move on to our next news. President Donald Trump says he made no progress with Vladimir Putin on ending the war in Ukraine. Speaking after their nearly hour-long call, Trump told reporters he's not happy with the ongoing conflict and said Russia is still unwilling to budge. Here's what the U.S. president has said.
It was a pretty long call. We talked about a lot of things, including Iran, and we also talked about, as you know, the war with Ukraine, and I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy.
According to the Kremlin, Putin told Trump that Moscow will not back down from its objectives, but it is open to continued negotiations. The Russian leader also briefed Trump on recent prisoner swaps with Kyiv and discussed other flashpoints like Iran and the broader Middle East. Now here's audio of Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov outlining what was discussed during that call.
Президент также сказал, что Россия будет добиваться поставленных целей, то есть устранения всем известных первопричин, приведших к нынешнему положению.
Now we are joined back by our guest Ross Feingold. He's a political analyst joining us live for this news. Ross, does Trump's public admission of no progress help or hurt Ukrainian morale and allied unity? Does it signal maybe transparency and resolve or invite doubts about his ability to broker ceasefire?
That's a really interesting question because on the one hand, Ukraine very much wants to have a ceasefire implemented, not necessarily a final deal because it's so difficult for Ukraine and Russia to see eye to eye on what a final arrangement might be. But Ukraine certainly does want to pause in the fighting. But on the other hand, they don't want to sacrifice too much or give away too much just to achieve a ceasefire. And I think the leadership, the government, and the people of Ukraine are pretty unified, at least at the moment, that any arrangement they enter into with Russia, whether it's a temporary ceasefire or a long-term agreement, still has to achieve the political goals of the Ukrainian people. And I think also the Western European governments, to their credit, are still fairly unified about providing aid to Ukraine, whether that's financial aid or military equipment. And there's definitely some space between the United States and the Trump administration and the Western European countries on that issue. We even have the recent pause in the delivery of weapons to Ukraine. So on the one hand, Ukraine might be rooting for Trump to be able to persuade Putin to enter into a ceasefire agreement. But on the other hand, Ukraine, I think they're still internally fairly united, and they have the Western European countries' support to stay steadfast and continue to fight this war and recover the territory that they've lost. But it doesn't mean they're not willing to enter into a ceasefire. But again, it really depends on what the terms are.
Thank you, Ross, for staying with us. You will stay with us for our next